Hello techies, I'm Divya here. On behalf of CyberBrainer, don't you think the world of tech is evolving faster than ever? Now is the perfect time to dive in and build the skills that will take you places. With CyberBrainer, we are putting you in the driver's seat of your own future. We at CyberBrainer don't just teach your interest. We believe that knowledge is power, but it's applied knowledge that truly sets you apart. Whether you're diving into data science, mastering artificial intelligence, or exploring the world of cybersecurity, our courses are designed to give you the skills that matter. So let's jump into the session and make the future yours today. Thank you.
The simple thing. The same thing. You excluded the same project will do like hello, Mr. Proctor, but we'll see how the no. What is the HTTP request? What is the new event? What are the different parts of medium? That thing is. And then creating a project now. When I'm creating a project, we can create project for two ways. One is I'm creating a simple project. This is the project not based on any API implementation. If you are designing any API in the design center, we can download that API and we can implement the project based on that API. In that case, you need to download the API. I don't like this. We are discussing this second stream. First thing is we need to discuss about API design thing, right? I will show you how to download the design, how to implement that design in different. Now the focus is on how we process the message. Please focus on that. We will discuss the design concept. Don't put focus on that right now. Is a single project, and this is the new runtime server we're going to deploy, and the server is embedded inside your minimum Anypoint. And simple project. If you see a project got created and that it has several folders inside the project. We discussed about each and every folder. What is this? Sarasi/new sort/new. And if you see there is a first there in the bracket. We discussed. The flow is a basic building block of the new that will receive the message process and message, right? We'll put all the flows inside this folder. There is one XML file got created with the project name. When you create a project, and if you see here, get started, drag an operational school from the new planet this is the project explorer. We can see all the projects we created over the website project explorer area. I have developed different projects for, say, API Secure Profits. Demo is 70. These are all projects I created earlier. Now I could read this project, right? That's why it's simple project as well. And the main area, this is called a canvas or vary. We do the coding over here from this area in the middle part. And the extreme right part is a component palette. Like I said, we have different kinds of connectors and business side to it. Those things we will drag and drop over here and we can develop integration. These are all component palette, the next team of price area. And this is also important, part below area right. If below your canvas there are some properties console. These two are very, very important. Means if you drag in any component, you want to configure that component and become that component can conflict using new properties. These are all things you do when you're developing a new application, I hope. But anyway, as I said, I need to explain each and every small thing also. Now the two is, what I did is I dragged the listener and put over here. Right? See, when you drag a simple listener, what happened? The flow got created. Center flow got created. Right? Sometimes. No, I don't want in this way. I want to see the flow in that case. What would it be? I'd be in this team and I'm flowing down over here flow, and you can see the flow here. I drag the flow here. You can see the flow. This is done. This is empty flow. If you see the empty flow, there are these actions. You can clearly see the three sections. The information, that's right. Source, process, error handling session. Now, what source will do? Source will receive messages from external systems applications, right? My requirement is I will send messages from Postman. I will send messages from my Chrome browser. In that case, the Chrome browser and Postman and HTTP applications. To receive the messages from HTTP application and to understand those messages, I need to engage HTTP user. I'm putting HTTP user in the source box. This guy can able to, understand the HTTP messages. Then you need to configure a few things. Means at what port in your machine, this guy is listening for messages. Here in I'm deploying my local laptop and local desktop. That what I'm doing is my machine is a local host. This is the low-point local host, local machine. And this guy is listening for messages in my machine on A281 port. The client want to send a message means he need to send this port. Then this guy can able to take that message. If I change to 882, I need to send to 884. Right. That's it. And I'm just putting this route, this path, where we can receive messages in multiple paths. I put this in there. Just put path as a 1. I can do it also. Now what I'm doing is I configured one listener to listen messages on 8 or and 82 port. One step once I receive the message. Once this guy receives the message, I want to print the message simply. To print the message, we use the component called logger. Logger is a component. We will print the messages to the console. In the logger, what I'm doing is I'm printing the messages. The message receives this series. There is some syntax over here. Hash square brackets. Inside I'm putting that's it. From the Mule event, I want to print something. I want to extract something. That thing, that component I need to put inside this thing hash square brackets. From the Mule event, if I want to extract the variables, you need to put inside variables over here. I want to extract the payload. I'm putting payload over here because I'm sending the payload from the client, and that I want to see over here. I want to print over here. The very first thing. I simply print the payload, whatever I send to the client. That's it. Let me deploy this one. First thing is on the project. See in the console area, right, you can see the progress of that deployment, how your application is getting deployed to this server. That is inside this Anypoint Studio. This application got deployed. It's a confirmation. If you've got any error, you can see that over here. You can't see this deployment at the status. The client makes your application required successfully without any error. Right. Now you can ready to test your application. You need to install this Postman client to test your application. I do have one. And what I'm doing is call a local host. I deployed my application in my local machine, localhost, and I deployed to the path. To this point. If I send a message, you listen to that message. You listen, keep on listening at this point. At that point, 882.882.1. You are listening, keep on listening for messages. Keep on listening for messages. From the client, if I hit this one, what message I'm sending? I'm sending this JSON file. From the client, if I send to this point, what your laser will do is it will pick up that message and it will log that message. You will be printing that message. Look at that. The message received is, this is the message we received from the client. On the Postman. Right? And how I printed that one I extracted from the payload. In the Mule event, there are 3 sections. Are they right? The first section is attribute, second section is payload, and the third section is variable. The data and Postman in the data section, that is go to the payload. From the payload I'm extracting. How I'm extracting? There is some syntax, is there? What is the syntax? See, this is a HTTP message we are getting from the Postman. How this message look like? It got 2 sections. One is the header section. This section is header section. And this section, some people call it the body section. In the body, I can send external messages or JSON messages. Whatever, I send some messages. And when it is go to Mule, the listener, the design is the what the listener will take this message and converts to Mule event. And Mule event contains 3 sections, right? Attributes. And variables. How laser will build this Mule event is whatever the data coming inside the body. It takes and copies to the payload section. Therefore, we are able to print the hash square if the payload means. You can able to extract the payload and you can able to print the payload. Whatever the things, the sending body that got printed right. Just the mesa. And next we are coming to attributes. What this means is the header section is copied to the attributes. Attributes. Now you have to understand what are the headers. in a CTP message, there are three kinds of headers. Three types of headers. The first type is the standard headers. Standard. These are called standard headers. And I can send. Second is body parameters. Body parameters. Body parameters are also go as part of the headers. I see now. And third is URL. These three go as part of the headers. One is the standard headers. I see. And the query parameters. And URL parameters. These will go as headers. What laser will do? It will copy all these types of headers and put as part of the attributes. Attribute. Then from the attributes, if I want to extract these things. How to extract means hash. Instead of payload, I need to put attributes right. Sorry, my writing is not. It's really good. Much better than mine. Attribute is dot. What kind of attribute? If you want to extract information from header attribute, you need to do is attribute.headers. That's not. If I am sending something a city as a header, I will get the city. I'm sending some name as a query parameter. In that case, attributes, query parameters. Query parameters.name. First, I will send these two and later I will discuss about the query parameters. That name is a variable. What I'm saying is it is dynamic, right? It could change. It could be whatever I set up for the query parameter. I go to header and can you go back? What about the UI? I would too. Excellent. I will send a header as a city. As query parameters I can do to send as a question mark. Something like, see, whatever standard address I can send is an address. These are called standard address. The city is standard address. And the name is query parameters. I will append from the URI question mark. I will send the name query parameter. I want to send two query parameters. And something like major X is equal to compute X. These two things I'm sending. One is the name and the major, and the third is the city. Now what happens? These two name, major and city. These three will go as headers, right? These three travel in a header section. And when message receives a listener, what does that do? You take this header section, this name major and this city that put inside the attribute section. And this is a query parameter. Now I'm printing that one using one more log row here, putting a log row here. First I want to print the header current. How I print this? What thing I'm sending? That's something. I think it's that query. Now see here, I need to send the attributes because that is coming as part of the attributes. Attributes.query parameter. First I'm printing header current. On the start, the city one, you just added the postman. That's the standard. Anything with the URL that has a question mark after that, that's a query parameter. We're sending two headers right now. I'm sending two query parameters and one header parameter. That's two headers, right? This one I can give it, but this is a parameter, header parameter. Right now I'm creating right. These two are query parameters, name and major. Window should make sure I understand. And the postman, if you go back. The postman. Like I see right now, you are sending two types of headers, right? One is a standard, like a city. Right? And the other one is a query parameter, has two information. Right? We can combine all the headers as much as we need, as long as we're sending three types. I'm with you now. Because some things you don't want to show the city inside on the URI. Because there is some security and you want to send them internally. Those things you send as a header, internal headers. This by seeing the URL. I can't understand. You know the city is going because there are name and major only. You want display. There is nothing, nothing mistake or nothing wrong. Those things you put inside as a query parameters. Something you feel you don't want to display those things on the URL, then you send as a standard. Now, if I want to print the query parameters, I'm going to put one more marker over here. The name, the major hash attributes, dot query parameters. What is the query parameter name? First one. There is some other one. Yes, some other one. Major is same. Make sure the spelling should be same from the postman, whatever. Saying that. Right now you're not in a script mode. Now let me see how this thing. If you see, let me see the console. Let's start it. Started means deployed. Now I can send from the client. Let's send this message. Come back over here. There is a log statement or the info. This is called log statement. You see the one log statement and the city from header is Genoa. Right? This is standard header. And name and major are Hamut. Major is this. These two are printing from the query parameters. Right? The point you need to understand and remember is how I'm printing. I'm printing something called the expression. This is called expression. Hash is the expression. This is called data view expression. What does expression mean? I think simple, very simple. Simple, put hash and square bracket inside that. Put that thing whatever you want to extract. Did you say about this? Syntax or expression is from the data wave. This is called data view expression. We have data view transformation language. That is the primary language for transformation. That is a very good topic. We're going to see what is very simple expression to extract the content from the new event. This very simple expression to extract the content. If I can ask you this, the listener listens to the HTTP message. He finds out that was HTTP. He looked to the header and looked at the body and put the header into attribute area and the body puts the payload. But also it converts everything to the Mule event. But then for processors, or not processors, especially for the logs and others, to get some information from that message or from the payload or whatever attribute, to get some information from what for the Mule event they utilize in and data language or syntax to pull information from the event. Is that correct? Excellent. Wonderful. Excellent, Hamid. You got it. You got it. The point is now we are not really discussing how we are receiving messages. Once you receive a message, we can process, right? This is the point. This is the exact point to understand how we are receiving the messages inside the Mule. How many ways we can able to receive? We receive a message from the payload or we can receive from the header from the query parameter. If we are sending from query parameter, how are we going to receive that message? If we put header, how are we going to receive the message? And the header, you said 3 type as standard query parameters, UI parameters. This is a new area, but I learned something from you now that even for, like you saying that for security aspect, we don't put sensitive data on a query parameters or UI parameters, right? We have to use those information in the standard header. Even this is not 100% secure. People can able to hack, it can get it. We can't see in the URL at least. By seeing the snapshot URL, we can't see the city. By seeing the URL, you can able to say the name is going and where it is going. The people can misuse this thing, right? They can, but the cities that they cannot be able to see. The city on the URL, right? That's nice. These two parameters. I think you understand about standard headers and query parameters, right? Now we're coming to the third parameter, the URI parameter, right? One thing that I'm curious is that the listener you set it up. It was like the listener was GT, right? But you're sending posts, right? When you send a post from Postman, the listener is still valid. It's still getting what is GT sent from that port, and from that local host to the port is getting that. What I was thinking. Alright, we have to send it. It can receive it here. Now I'm with you. I thought we need a GET method on the Postman, but we need a PostST method in the Postman that our listener, our runtime, can get some information from other sources. Even GET post went from the postman. When we invoke this point localhost 8082, at this point the listener is listening. If you use GT right, you can't able to send the bodies. Not forget there is no body. Only URL is there. We can't send a payload when this GT, the payload is always empty. If I hit like this right, I just change the GT, and if I hit I won't get the payload. If you see the console, see one moment. Let me clear this thing and hit again. If I hit this one, see the message received is nothing blank. Because GT won't carry the payload. The body is not there for the GT. Only that URL is got triggered. But you can able to see the header and the URL parameters right. What is the difference between POST and GT is for POST? You can send message from the client. But for GT, the body is disabled. There is no body for the GT messages. Even in the listener, what you are listening is confusing. You can set what kind of messages you want to listen, the GT messages, POST messages, all kinds of messages that also you can send. But right now we're not specifying right now, right? Allure methods, is that right? Allure method is by default GET and POST. Alright, it listens both. My understanding was that it only was listening, only GT and POST. Correct. If a requirement says that only you need to understand the POST, only if the GT is not allowed, you need to put explicitly over here like POST. If you put POST, it will only allow the POST method. If you send a GT method, it won't reject that request. Got. Based on your requirement. Now it allows both GT and POST. This is the reason why it allows both can get in POST. Now coming to the final one is the URL parameter. URL parameter is also when you send in the URL. See now, this is a URL, right? This is called URL. This is a URL, right? This part is the same, right? Actually, and afterwards as after question mark, this part is parameters actually. Parameter starts after question mark. And URL parameter is you can send as part of the main URL. This is called main URL and this is called parameters. This is query parameters. This part is query parameters. This is called query parameters. This is called main URL. And if you can send a parameter using the main URL, that's when URL parameter. Like you can send like this. Compose. Made it is 82. I want to send some country information over here. /1/USSA question mark and query parameter start. Name is equal to blah blah blah. I want to send the country information. I'm sending USA here. And next time I will send a /1/Germany. I can send whatever country I like. Whatever information I want to send as part of the URL. Now this is called URL parameter. Germany, you say. I can send whatever country. It depends upon your requirement. I want to get all the details from the USA. I will send USA as a URL parameter. If you want to get details from Germany, I will send Germany as a URL parameter. That's the URL parameter. I will send it like this. Now what I'm doing is working the post on change modification. /1/ I'm putting USA. Now in the new land, I need to pick up this information. And you take this information. Right. What kind of modification I need to do is after one. Right. I need to put / and here. What I need to send is, how can I get that after one? See after path after one, I'm sending country information. Right. And I want to get that information like dollar and country. Here in the path, I'm putting dollar and country means whatever from the client, whatever the country name I'm sending here that is captured inside the country. This country parameter. I'm putting a log over here and here around same attributes dot. This time I'm putting the URL parameters. What is the parameter name I've given? This country, I've given the listener itself. This is a little different. And you know country from the postman what I'm sending. This URL, I'm confining in the listener. Rest of two, I'm confining the client itself. See key parameter, I'm confining in the client. Client means your postman. Now you're sending all three errors. All three attributes. All the kinds of headers that come to attributes. All the three attributes. All the attributes. Attributes.header, attributes.url parameters, and attributes.query parameters. Let me see this one again. Let me see. Let's start on the right. You can only use say. I see that. If I postman in place of country, I'm sending now Canada, good % Canada. Now we receive as country is Canada. I hope you get an idea about all the parameters. Query parameters, header parameters, URL parameters, and payload. All of them, three of them. Is this common sense? From the client, we will receive information on this page only. There's only 4 ways. One is as part of the payload or as part of the query parameters, as part of the header parameters, or as part of the URL parameters. Apart from that, we won't receive the message in any other way from the specific client. But do they like? My understanding was that maybe they only send it like a no. Right now, like your example, you're utilizing all three different headers. That is depends upon your business requirement. In some requirement, you want to send the departments as a URL parameter or country. If you want to send certain information to the CS department, you put the sales as the URL parameter. Depends upon your business requirement. How you want to send information from your client to events. But these are the ways how we can send information to client. To new event is you can send as a query parameter. Whatever your wish is, that depends the design of the project. The URL design depends upon the project to project. Excellent. Right? That's really nice. If a client understands this message, transformation means how the event is transformed into a new event. That is very, very important. We need to focus on that. That's right. That's right. That's very basic. Then, and you can see, like I said, you can see the software documentation also. That is also very good practice. Event processing in View 4. This is not coming. You can. This is old one, quite old one, inbound product. This is View 3, not this one. You explained about the old one. You know about these things. The old one, new one don't need. Focus on only View 4. View 4. I will share the resources also, what resources you want to go through. Thank you very much. This is the one we discussed. This is the one we discussed. This is the thing I will bring you in the chart. We'll put that in the chat. This is important. For production to minimum usage. Complete this article today. And if you feel a little complex, don't whatever. I can explain you on that. Any questions? Please do like, share and subscribe to our channel.